So you rely on fundraisers, donors. Is that something that you have to be dealing with along with running the hospital?
We do. We actually have a foundation, so our SRMC Foundation. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have our gala right after St. Patrick's Day, and so obviously that wasn't going to happen. So that was put on hold. We were expecting record turnout for that this year. So we do have a lot of support from the community, and that's been nice to see. We do rely on that. We're also the largest, if not one of the top 2 largest employers in the county. And so we need to be here. If we're not here, the county's in trouble, so we have to make sure that we have strong financial stewardship. We employ a lot of folks. They lead to other jobs in the county, so it's very important that we're here to support the county and the community, and I hope that folks realize that. Beyond that, we really want them to feel like they don't have to go somewhere else except for truly quaternary high level of care. We don't do everything, but what we do, we're going to do with excellence. So that's pretty much been my mantra since I started here 14 years ago.
And I guess just if you could look into your crystal ball on this COVID-19, what do you think is going to happen as we head towards winter? What are your thoughts on kids going back to school, on testing?
None of this is easy, and I keep saying my crystal ball is broken. That's actually what I say. So, but I'm worried about the winter time just because we typically have influenza. Don't know if that's going to make things worse. How does this affect it? We're encouraging everybody to get your flu vaccine as soon as you can. So really September is when you really want to be thinking about getting your vaccine. Kids going back to school only worries me because typically there are spread of infections. We do see less severe illness in children in general compared to influenza. And so if we can just continue keeping our most vulnerable out of high-risk situations and doing our part, hopefully the spread will not be so overwhelming that the hospitals are overwhelmed. The reality is you can't stop the virus. You can't stop it. You can only try to control it as much as you can. And, medical care and COVID is very complex. It would be nice if we had higher levels of accuracy with the testing and also more speedy turnaround. We've been trying to get COVID testing in-house. We still have to do a send-out. We're doing about a 2 to 3 day turnaround for some of those lab tests, but the accuracy is also an issue, and I don't hear that being spoken of a lot. Depending on when you test a person when they're ill, it can be up to a 40% false negative rate, meaning you have COVID, but you tested negative. So we have to be very careful about this, and there's different types of testing. I'm talking about the PCR standard testing that we have.
And are you optimistic about a vaccine coming quickly?
I'm optimistic about a vaccine coming. How quickly, I don't know. You know as much as I do from what you read in the media. I don't think that the FDA will take shortcuts on this. They're going to accelerate the process. Everybody's dedicated to the vaccine, but the safety measures are important. So I would be one of the ones to get the vaccine if it became available. I would fully trust that ability to have that vaccine.
How about for your children?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My children have gotten flu shots every year since they were young. I believe it definitely makes a difference. And so we'll see what comes, but I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later. But having said that, I don't think coronavirus will go away. It'll circulate every so often. So we just have to understand that.
You knew at a very young age you wanted to be a doctor. What drove you to that decision?
And I do remember this very clearly. I was 8 years old, and I told my parents I wanted to be a physician. My younger brother was born with cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disease. Unfortunately, he died at the age of 26, but he required a lot of medical care his whole life. And my parents dedicated themselves to making sure that he got what he needed to have. And so I would actually go on his trips, his tune-ups and his checkups up at Akron Children's in Akron. They had a CF clinic up there, and actually the pediatrician that cared for him was just a wonderful man, and I thought, wow, he put us all at ease, because even at a young age I was reading about it. I did a science report in 3rd grade on cystic fibrosis. I got an A on that one. I really saw what he did and the impact he had on my family, and it had nothing to do with the medical care, it's what he did. And so I was pretty convinced at a young age that I wanted to go into medicine. I didn't know that I'd want to be a pediatrician. I actually ended up doing internal medicine and pediatrics, and part of my training was at Akron Children's under that physician, so it was pretty awesome.
Your parents have a tremendous story.
Yes.
They're immigrants.
Yes.
Tell me about them.
So I'm a first-generation American. Both of my parents were born in Italy, and they came to this country separately. They actually met in Youngstown at an Italian dance, so it's kind of funny. And so I saw the value of what this country offered to them, and the fact that they were able to acclimate into this area and build a life for them and send their children to school. Education was the highest of stresses in my household. They said you just need to be able to be self-sufficient, even if you don't work. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you want to have that education behind you. And so they stressed that and inspired me to do that. They worked long hours. My father was a tailor. My mother happened to be a seamstress. That was coincidental.
Wow.
I'm not a surgeon because I cannot sew. So they were, they had their own little store, and we all worked in that store growing up. And I saw my dad put in his 12-hour days, 6 days a week, because it was up to him to be able to bring home the money to take care of us. And then add to that my brother's illness. It was definitely a stress, but the value of hard work and family was just, something I grew up with.
And is that something you carry with you today? And do you
hope so.
pass that on to your kids?
I hope so. I hope I do. I think we've done that. I think they see what they've been able to accomplish, and it's more important on what you give than what you get. And I hope that that's part of the message that they've seen. I feel like they have, but.
Tell me about what type of leader you are here at the hospital, or your leadership philosophy, I guess.
So I'm all about working together in teamwork and inspiring and building consensus and influencing others. It's not a dictatorship. I believe everybody has a voice and everybody has great ideas, and I like out-of-the-box thinking. So it's a matter of just stopping and listening to folks. I think you have to lead by example, and I always say this: you can have fun and be kind and get great work done. And if you keep that as your focus and the value of the people around you, everybody has a value to them, and they all have a unique skill set. And so if we can recognize that, I think it makes for a better work environment.
You told me when we met before that you have your doctors read the Humility in Practice.
Yeah. So when I was a teaching attending, there was an article that I read back from 1999 called Humility in the Practice of Medicine, and I gave it to every resident that rotated with me, because you have to understand your limitations. Once you think you know everything, you've just become the most dangerous physician, and that holds true in anything, not just in medicine. You have to have enough humility to know your limitations, but also have enough curiosity to then go discover more and to be able to make a decision and use the best information and resources that you have to do it. So I still have the article with me. It's in my drawer. Every so often I break it out and read it because it reminds me of what we're here to do, and I take that very seriously. You have to have a passion for what you do, and this is my passion.
Built for the 21st century American workforce, Eastern Gateway Community College has 2 campuses and is a national leader in online learning. EGCC.edu is a digital gateway where 30,000 students are quickly transforming their financial futures through degrees, certificates, transferable credits, and higher paying jobs. And now, residents of the Mahoning Valley can enroll in summer classes for free. It's the EGCC Summer Guarantee. Eastern Gateway. America's new workforce starts here.